I think it really started off at, well, ask us why we were here. Well, Hooters. We were at we were at Hooters after a long day in the newsroom in the field of our short course for NEBJ down in Greensboro, North Carolina. I was actually there yesterday. Um,
Am I?
and guess what? I went. I was there where our hotel was. Where we did karaoke. We're gonna get into that later. Yeah, I didn't go in, but I was in the area. So I passed by. I was like, "Oh man, flashbacks, flashbacks, flashbacks." What is going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 1 of Did You Hear That with Shimei and A'Lauren. I'm Shimei Cook.
And I am A'Lauren Gilchrist.
What's going on, A'Lauren? I'm glad we started this podcast. You know, this is episode 1. For all those who don't know who we are, I'm Shimei Cook. I am a student at Fayetteville State University. I'm a communications and media studies student at Fayetteville State University. I have a talk show called What's Up with Shimei Cook. What else? I'm a member of National Association of Black Journalists. I do a lot of things: sports, pop culture, politics. I could do it all. Yeah, A'Lauren, well, introduce the people who you are.
So, hi everyone. My name is A'Lauren Gilchrist. Yes, A'Lauren, not just Lauren. There's an A in front of it. I am a rising senior at Norfolk State University in Norfolk, Virginia. I am the head of honestly all of the things in my mass comm department. I serve as the NEBJ president. I am the editor in chief of the Spartan Echo newspaper. I do a news show for our radio station called Headline, and I am the first ever media personality for the award-winning Spartan Legion marching band.
Look at that, A'Lauren. See, I'm trying to keep up with A'Lauren. Look at that. That's. She's the nah. I can't have all that responsibility. I do my own thing and keep it pushing. But Lauren's doing a lot over there at Norfolk. So first of all, we made this podcast because me and Lauren met each other at NEBJ, which we both mentioned, NEBJ short course over at North Carolina A&T, and we just kicked it off. You know, Lauren is she has a good personality. I have a good personality. Uh, Laura is really one of those people that you really, you really can get stuff off your chest to, and I think that's what we have in common. Like we get stuff off our chest behind the scenes and stuff on stuff that we go through. We created this podcast. Why did we create this podcast, Lauren?
We created this because we wanted to create a space that is open and transparent about HBCU and college issues.
Yeah.
What I love about Shimei when I first met him is that he shows up authentically as himself. And that's what I try to do. And I feel like so many times, especially now with social media, it's like all we do is highlight HBCU culture and excellence, which is great. But there are so many things that go undiscussed just to keep an image of how great HBCUs are. And I feel like there are a lot of different conversations that need to be had. And honestly, as a journalist, I like bringing truth to light. So that's kind of why we created this.
What we do, we speak fact based stuff. You know,
Yes.
But
Yes.
we always try to speak truth to power because that's our jobs as journalists, as storytellers. That's really the important things of our job. But you know, first of all, let's go how we became friends, Lauren. Uh, the funny thing is, Allure. Okay, so like I said, we met each other at the NBJ short course, and I think it really started off at, well, ask us why we were here. Well, Hooters. We were at we were at Hooters after a long day in the newsroom in the field of our short course for NBJ down in Greensboro, North Carolina. I was actually there yesterday. Um,
Am I?
and guess what? I went. I was there where our hotel was. Where we did karaoke. We're gonna get into that later. Yeah, I didn't go in, but I was in the area. So I passed by. I was like, "Oh man, flashbacks, flashbacks, flashbacks." But no, me and Lauren, along with other members from our program that we were there, we went to Hooters, and I don't try to be the center of attention, but Lauren makes it clear that I always show up authentically myself. I the same way I'm on air, I'm off air. It's the same person. So I think a lot of people who know me generally know that about me. I'll show up 100% myself, no matter what. So I think with a Lauren, we were talking about a person. We were talking about personal stuff. We were talking about you know, and I was basically the moderator of the table.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like Olga, it's like
A red table talk, and Shimei was the moderator, just passing the baton, passing the questions along, following everybody, empathizing with everybody, at least with me. So,
because Laura was right next to me, so it was Laura was like I think the right of me, and then my roommate, what's his name, Joshua or Nate? I think it was Patrick. Patrick was right next to me, right?
yeah,
And it was other people in like I just wanted to break the ice because we don't know each other. So I just try to like break the ice and make sure everybody's comfortable. There was different people, not just from HBCUs. There was different people from all all different colleges and universities at the table. And I feel like we made a great connection, and we have a group chat that we have still, and we still stay connected through that. But I think you know I think that's really where me, Kennedy, and Lauren really smart. I talked to Lauren more than I talked to Kennedy. And Kennedy, she's Miss Tennessee State University, so congratulations to her. But yeah, I think with that type of stuff, um, that's why me and Lauren came up with a great bond. That was an interesting night, and that was only night one. That was
yeah,
only night one.
because we walked there.
We walked. We did walk. Cause the first where we were supposed to go to a Chili's.
Yeah,
We were gonna go. We were first to go, and Chili's was closed. And I said before we left, we should make an appointment. Well, we should call. No one wants to listen to Shemai. And listen, I didn't want to show up as like I knew everything. The guy that knew everything. So I was like, okay, they'll learn. Some people sometimes you gotta learn. Have people just learn from their mistakes themselves. So we walked. It was like off of a interstate in a way, right? It was interstate. We had to cross the street. It was kind of dangerous.
yeah, it
Yeah,
was.
go down hills. I had to pick up a Lauren, make sure she didn't fall. Pick up Kennedy, make sure she didn't fall. Cause we had to go down this big hill.
Yeah.
But we made it safe and sound. That was interesting. We had to go under that tunnel after we left. Remember that under that tunnel? But no. So why did we come up with the name of the podcast? You want to talk about that?
So during the short course, Shemai being Shemai,
Oh man,
being the life of the party, every time something, I don't want to say messy would happen, but something unconventional would happen, he would,
interesting.
yes, anything interesting that would happen, he would say, I didn't hear that.
Okay, to give people the background of that, that's not my original saying. This is old lady on TikTok. It was like
Yes.
on TikTok on Instagram or something. I saw it, and my roommates showed me this video.
I didn't hear that.
And it just stuck. When I saw it, I busted out laughing because who says that? Like
Yeah.
this lady was like, what do you? I don't know. Her daughter or something was asking, what do you about a guy who doesn't contribute to a relationship or something like that? Um,
Yeah.
and she was like, I didn't hear that.
I didn't hear that.
So from that moment on, that's the meme of my life, of this moment, this chapter of my life. When people say something stupid or something interesting, I'm just gonna be like, I didn't hear that. So we flipped it. And I think that's just like that's a me and Lauren's inside joke. Well, now you guys are inside too.
Yeah.
But every time Every time me and the Lawrence like have like something stupid happens or something, like I hear that.
Yeah. So now we're like, did you actually hear that? Did you hear that? That's the name of our podcast.
The name of the podcast. Did you hear that? So, yeah. All right, Lauren, why did you want to become a journalist? Since we're both, in the media aspect, why did you want to become a journalist?
I wanted to go into journalism. Like I tell everyone, I want to watch the world change live through news and media. So I feel like being in journalism, you get to kind of see everything happen first.
Oh,
And I have a strong passion for holding people accountable and being transparent. And I feel like as a journalist, I have that job. And I feel like I can represent people's voices who may not be able to be heard. Um, and also just bring truth to light to things that are going to be swept under the rug. I feel like a lot of news today sometimes can be washed either way, and I just want to be the voice of truth. That's why I'm in journalism. And honestly, I feel like what really solidified like the hard news for me was just watching everything go down during the pandemic
oh,
and the whole 2020 Black Lives Matter protest. CNN correspondent Omar Jimenez, I watched him get arrested live on air
I
for
actually met
being
him on CNN. I met him. I
really,
met him, and he explained that story.
really,
On how he actually like how it was happening live and remind you and people who don't know about when you're like live in the field you have an IFB where you're it's called informational what is it called IFB feedback
yeah,
actually don't quote me on that I just
yeah,
know it's called IFB uh
yeah,
yeah, information feedback or something like that. Don't quote me, if correct me if you want. But it's like the earpiece where your producers in the studio was communicating with you. They said just cooperate with him, with the officials, and the next, like I think when he once he got to the station, he wasn't even booked, all that stuff, and but he was saying like that's what he wanted to show that he's not going to back down on telling the truth no matter what it takes. So that was a true example. Yeah, so I met him last summer
wow,
um at the CNN headquarters. It was actually pretty cool. Yeah.
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 He's
I
kind
didn't
of
mean to
like,
cut you off. I'm sorry. I want
no,
to
you're good, you're good. He's kind of the inspiration.
hmm
Because I believe the same thing, whatever it takes to get the story, whatever it takes to expose the truth, I want to do that. Even if it means getting into some good trouble.
Okay, John Lewis.
Yes, yes.
Clock it.
I just that's my life for me. And
Okay.
I feel a lot of even the issues I faced at my HBCU, as we'll get into,
We're gonna get
is
into that later episodes, or yeah, probably not today, but we're gonna get into that.
because of that. So yeah.
Yeah.
What,
Okay. Huh?
what about you?
Okay, so I got into journalism. I grew up watching a lot of daytime television. And then okay, this is kind of distracting me. I have this bandage because I recently got a mole removed like moments ago before we take this podcast, and I don't want people to say, "Oh, Shemai got beat up," because I do talk a lot of smack, and people think I get beat up for it. So no, I got a mole removed from my outside of my eye. It was actually irritating me because it was like growing and I couldn't see for a moment, even though I wear glasses. So my peripheral vision was very bad. So I had to get it removed. So that's why I have a bandage. Okay, people. Okay. But why I got into journalism. Okay. I grew up watching a lot of daytime television growing up with my great grandmother when I used to go to my great grandmother's house. So I used to watch it was called CBS This Morning at the time with that I it was Gail King, of course. What's her name? Charlie Rose. He got fired because of sexual assault. Charlie Rose and Nora O'Donnell. That was like the big three from CBS This Morning, and they were all the talk. They were all around the table, and that was at CBS headquarters in New York. So that's where now they're in Times Square. And it's called CBS Mornings. That's where I watch. Then I got into Live with Kelly and Michael. Kelly and Michael Strahan, Kelly Ripa. I watched that. Yeah. Um, used to watch that. So there's a lot of game shows. The Wendy Williams show. That's really why I think I got into just like to see a black woman. She was like my Oprah. 'Cause Oprah went off air when I was
Yeah,
yeah
yeah.
when Wendy came on. Oprah went off air I think around 2009, 2008. Yeah, so
Mhm.
Wendy came on around in 2008 because I remember because that's the same year my sister was born. So that's how I remember how old the Wendy Williams show was. So watching that and like all these daytime talk shows, Ellen when she had the red chairs, not the white chairs. Yeah, that's prime Ellen. I watched that. So just watched a lot of daytime panel, and that really sparked my interest to want to be on television. So doing those things really helped my imagination. My great grandmother used to allow me to have a big imagination where she allowed me to move her furniture like I was the actual Wendy Williams show. The Talk, remember The Talk? Yeah, with Julie Chen and stuff. So, um, yeah, stuff like that. So that really sparked my interest and that transpired into me going to high school, having my own talk show in high school. Well, starting a YouTube channel before, and then going into high school, having my own talk show, and then going to podcasting, and then going to college, having my own radio show, now having my own talk show. So yeah, I've been doing this. People be saying, how long have you been interested? I think basically my whole life.
Mhm.
Basically my whole life. I know that's a lot, Laura. I know sometimes you can stop me when I go into rampages because that's what I do a little bit.
But see, the
Yeah.
interviewer in me is listening, so
Huh? What you say?
interviewer in me is listening, so I'm hearing your story.
Yeah. Yeah, I have had to tell that story so many times in the past few months because I got a scholarship from the Charlotte Hornets, and I was like all media around me. I had to tell this. I had to go to the
Over and
newspaper
over.
over and over. So it's like scripted in my brain now at this point. But yeah. Um, all right, the importance of why we chose HBCUs. I want to go Lauren. Why did you want to go to a HBCU?
Honestly, I grew up sheltered. I grew up in the suburbs. I went to a predominantly white high school, and my father went to the Mecca. He went to Howard University.
Word. Okay.
And so that kind of really inspired me. Howard was honestly the school, my dream school. I really wanted to go there. They gave me a lot of money to go there. But
Really?
yeah, they did. But my father was really adamant about, Lauren, you don't need to go there. You're not ready. You're not ready. The whole DC life, the city, the parties, the boys. I've never really been away from home. He was really adamant about, you're not going to Howard. You can go to another school and transfer there, but you really need to just find somewhere else to be. And I don't know how I ended up at Norfolk State. It was very weird because this is a school, at least in my area, where people talk terrible about Norfolk State.
Hmm.
It's just a school. It's ghetto, it's ratchet. Nothing good comes out of there. I had immediate family tell me, you're applying to Norfolk State, you should be going to Hampton or Spelman or somewhere else. And it was for my Access College advisor in high school. She told me to just apply. And she told me to apply for a specific scholarship where all your room and board, tuition fees, everything is paid full ride. And I just applied like out of whim, didn't think about it. And I ended up with that full ride scholarship on the VCAM program. And
Oh,
that
good for you. So you're not paying nothing. That's good for you.
that kind of solidified Norfolk State as the choice. Hampton really, I got accepted, but they really didn't give me
They're
much fun.
stingy because they're a private institution. That's why
Yeah.
people forget that.
I had a few other schools kind of do the same thing, give me a full ride, but I really wanted the culture. I
Mm.
really wanted to experience being just, I wanted the experience.
Mm.
And I wanted to be in a place where people who look like me build me up and encourage me. And we'll probably get into this, Shemai,
Yeah, later.
yeah, later, that it's not all cut up to what I thought it would be.
Mm.
But I will say, if it wasn't for my HBCU, I probably wouldn't have even met you, Shemai,
That's
because
true. That's good. That yeah, that's actually fair. That's fair.
because
Yeah.
I mean, I tell everyone like the reason why I even got involved with NABJ is because of Norfolk State, and I don't really think any other PWIs around here have an NABJ chapter.
Because it's white people. That's why.
Yeah.
So.
So I mean, I just chose my HBCU because I feel like God granted me an opportunity, and I wanted culture. I wanted the experience.
Okay, so I chose a HBCU. So ironic. So my seventh grade English teacher, her name was Miss Parker. She was a white woman. Taught me about HBC, taught all her students about going to HBCUs. So growing up, you say you grew up in the suburbs. I grew up in the suburbs as well. I've never been in the hood. I don't know what hood is. I don't know,
Hmm.
like ever.
Hmm.
I wouldn't say I was sheltered, but I was probably like the odd person in the bunch. I was always like very different. Like I said, I was old soul, so it was like very different from everybody else. I knew that. I was the dude that wore suits every day to school, and then from middle school on. Probably no, I would probably say not from middle school, probably from elementary school and beyond. So it was like I was always different, so I knew that. But always grew up around. You say you had predominantly white. You went to a probably predominantly white school. I grew up around all black people. I was just thinking about that. It's so crazy. All my public school, all my educational career, I have always been around black people. From my graduating class, I went to my graduating class was very small, so about 106.
Oh my God.
Yeah, very small. My high school was very small. In Connecticut is a small state, and when people think I'm from Connecticut, um, and when people think of Connecticut, people think of like white people. No, there's black people in Connecticut. So my high school, I had probably I could count on my hand how many white people were in the school. That's how that's how many white people there were. So going to the HBCU was not going to be hard for me, but I heard about it from my seventh grade English teacher, who was a white woman, but I call her white chocolate because she was that person that taught her whole curriculum was about black history.
Oh, wow.
Nothing else. A white woman talking about black history. And she talked about HBC. She had probably a lot of HBCUs all around the flags and all that stuff. And I told her, I remember because I was playing football, I thought I was going to be the next big football star at the time, seventh grade, Shemai, right? And I told her I wanted to go to Ohio State. And she was like, Shemai, why don't you think about going to a HBCU? Because she saw my personality. She saw like she said, like football is not gonna always be there. You say if you get hurt or something like that. My mom has also said that as well. Like you gotta think about, you know, a
Long
backup
term.
plan. Yeah,
Yeah.
long term. And I was like, okay. And I knew what I wanted to go to school for. And I used to love Ohio State. That was my favorite football college that I wanted to go to. That's where I wanted to go to play football at and all that stuff. And I had a little wake up call. And I was like, well, when I went to high school, I was like, I'm not going to college for football. I know that for sure. I want to go to college for, journalism. I'm going to go to college but I also want to go to a HBCU because I want to be with my people. I want to be with the culture, like you said, the culture. And you say Howard. My mom, I wanted to go to Howard. That was my dream HBCU. I call it the Black Harvard, in my opinion, or the Black Yale, if you would. That's what I call it because that's how, the curriculum is good and that the alumni and the resources are there and just talking with like, being our colleagues over or our cohort members from the short
Yeah.
course. they were like the stuff that they were saying, like the internship they have, the opportunity that they have. It's like
It's a different.
I don't regret. I never live in regrets, but it's just like I could just imagine if I was there, what I'm glad where my career is now, or where I'm going now, what have
Mhm.
accomplished now. But just imagine like the open doors or the type of things that. And they was like, and they were explaining like that Howard name is so iconic. It's just so yeah.
It
So
holds weight. It holds weight.
it holds
Like,
weight. Yeah. But I also learned that it doesn't matter what school you go to. It's about who you are. It's
yes.
the talent, the work that you put in. And I learned that. So let me go back to why I chose HB. So I wanted to go to Howard. I applied to Howard. I applied to Morehouse. I applied to North Carolina A&T. I applied to I think like 20 plus schools, and I got in PWI as well. But I knew I wanted to go to HBCU. I just did that for the IG post. Oh, I got into this. I got into that. Um, I just did that. I like yeah. So I did that. And me and my family were moving to North Carolina after I graduated high school. So I wanted to make sure in-state tuition, number one, that's how you save money. And number two, I wanted to go to a school where I can flourish and fly. Um, and it came down to North Carolina Central University. So which is a decent sized HBCU. It's a medium size. It's probably the same size as Norfolk because it's the same conference as in the MEAC. So I went to Central. I went to North Carolina Central, and my first year I went straight to work. Day one, I moved in all that stuff, and I knew, applying. I saw that they just built a brand new studio, TV studio, state of the art. It was really great, and I said, okay, maybe I can flourish here. I can do my thing here. So when I got to work, I mean, when I got there, I think it was school started my mom's birthday, August 15th. That was the first day of classes. By August 20th or 22nd, I was on the air on radio.
Yeah.
Yeah, on the air. I had an internship with the radio station. There's a radio station there, and I was making good money. I was making good money my freshman year. And I really enjoyed my time here. I got straight to work, had my own radio show, and that's where What's Hot with Shimei Cook was born, in radio. So I started off with doing radio and, talk about pop culture and stuff, and you could tell like listening to like, do you ever like cringe when you listen to your work, your old stuff, Lauren? Yes,
Yeah.
I could never listen to my stuff now, how I
Mhm.
was. Absolutely not. So that stuff and yeah, so I went to Central and all that stuff and beyond. I went to Central. I did 2 years at Central, and then we're probably gonna get into this later. It's just the reason I transferred from Central sophomore year for because it was just the vibe. I really wanted to get not just be a media personality, be just do radio and television because I was the news anchor of um our news program that we had. I wanted to do like student government, student leadership, and it wasn't it. The culture wasn't it. I ran for Mr. Freshman, my freshman year, and then just the how the election process is, it just very favoritism. It would just show very favoritism to short candidates, and I didn't fit that stereotype. I didn't fit this, and you're not gonna put me in one box. Yeah, that's one thing I do not like when people try to put people in boxes or categories and stuff. So it was just like that click, like you always say, this click. So I
Mhm.
wasn't part of that click. I don't like clicks. I really don't. So. I really didn't do that. So it was like really weird and And I called it out, like you say, speak like we said earlier, speaking truth to power. I went on the air calling people by name because you're a public figure at this point. 'Cause if you're elected official, you're a public figure, so I could talk about you. I used to say to people, I get paid to talk about you. I don't get paid to talk to you. So if you have a problem for what I say, and I know they're listening because they would do subliminals or walk past me, or when they see me walking, they walk the other way. It was like I don't bite. You could come on the show, and some people don't respect the mic. Some people did respect the mic at the end of the day, but it's just it was weird. So I really wanted to leave. I wanted to leave, and go to a place where, not just I can flourish, for my career, but flourish to leave a legacy for my institution. So I transferred to Fayetteville State University. Cheaper tuition too. You talk about money. We have this program called NC Promise where in-state tuition is $500 a semester, and out-of-state tuition, yeah, out-of-state tuition is 1,200 a semester. So it was like financially, I saved me some money.
Mhm.
Okay. That was another one, and just the culture. It was a more family orientated school. It's a more like student leaders are more approachable. You could get more involved. That's really what I enjoyed about my school where I'm at now, Fayetteville State. Because we don't really have an NBJ chapter. I'm the really only person that's there. We have a chapter that is through like the headquarters of NWJ.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we don't really have like people who are involved besides myself. So that's just like I said, it comes with some sacrifices, but at the same time, I feel like since I have left Central, my career and my path to where I want to go has grown because it's just I have seen that. But there have been some hurdles. There have been some things that I have gone through. We'll get into that later, in a later episode. But it's just, going to HBCU, there are cliques, there are things that people do, suffer. But at the same time, if you know who you are, if you know what your goals are, you should always push forward and do you. Yeah, so that's why I chose HBCUs. It's kind of a long tangent again, but yeah,
Sure. I think you really made a good point. And it still kind of ties into why we created the podcast.
yeah,
There are a lot of things that people don't talk about. Because I mean, I know several people, same thing, they transferred because of the different situations they've kind of faced at HBCU.
yeah. And people fail to realize we're paying. I'm not gonna pay to like that's the thing. Like I'm not gonna pay. And God bless you, Lauren, but I'm not in the situation where I don't I probably have to take on the chin since I'm getting a full ride here, right? But I'm not gonna be in my case. I'm not gonna be in a place where I'm paying to be in a place where I'm not wanted or I'm not welcome. I refuse. I'm sorry. I'm not. So it's just like you got to put. I've said this before. You got to put. Sometimes you have to be selfish. You have to put yourself first. At the end of the day, this is your future. This is your money. You're not gonna waste your time, with stuff to deal with certain things that people have to deal with. It's just like it's like high school all over again in a way. It's like a bigger high school.
And you would think, like, you watch these shows and whatnot, you think it's going to be totally different. No, I feel like, especially for smaller HBCUs, it is definitely sometimes more
Excuse
so
me,
high,
sorry.
high
Absolutely.
school.
Absolutely. I definitely agree. Because when it comes to bigger schools, um, I mean, they don't have to deal with that. Because when we were at A&T, you saw like people supporting each other. They had different Greek stuff outside, and you saw like people in suits and stuff. That's how I envision,
Exactly.
HBCU experience. When I was at Central, they wore suits occasionally, but I wore a suit every day. Because like that's my I'm one I have this thing I had in my office when I was back at school. It said I don't dress for what I am now. I dress for where I want to be.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. Exactly. So, um, yeah. So that's what I think. So yeah, it's just a culture thing, and every school has and I think it goes with like you said, like we said earlier, the clique of it. It's like it's like I said, it's like a bigger high school. All right, let's get into a segment we call Talk Your Talk. This segment is where we talk about topics focusing on relationships, situationships, friendships, and personal growth. So the question today is, Lauren, what qualities do you value the most in a friendship?
Hmm. Well, Shemai, you know my struggles with friendship and cliques and whatnot.
We're not gonna get
Um,
into detail yet, but yeah. hmm
I
I
think
hear that.
what
I didn't hear.
um I think right now what I'm valuing most in friendships is honestly mutual support.
Mm,
Um, really just mutual support. And someone friendship or relationship, but specifically like friendships, people who genuinely support you and are not trying to outdo you or compete with you. Is something I really admire. People who are comfortable in their own skin, um, and are just really willing to show up for you as much as you show up for them. Um, I think that's what I'm really valuing most now in friendships because I feel like a lot of times I've poured so much into people and it's never reciprocated. You're supporting whatever career endeavors they're doing.
yeah.
You're supporting ambitions. You're always showing up for them. But then when it's their time to do the same, they're never available. They're never around. Or whenever you achieve something, they're never happy for real for you. So right now, I'm really valuing just people who show up, number one, and people who are just genuinely like there to be your friend and they're not trying to use you. Because I've seen that a lot.
Uh, okay, I concur with what you said about showing up for people. What you want people to show up for you the way you show up for them. I definitely concur with that. Um, I would say the qualities I most value is loyalty. Um,
Yes.
and don't treat me different from don't treat me differently than you treat your other friends.
Yes.
I really do not like that. I feel like you should treat everybody the same way. I really don't like favoritism. I really don't like that. Um, yeah, I definitely don't. Yeah. So loyalty is very important because one thing about me, I'm a loyal person. Lauren, you can attest to this. Like I'm a ride or die, as my mom would call it. Like I really, if I'm with you, I will support you no matter what. I'll go to your thing if I can. Now, me and Lauren are like in two different areas. Now, Lauren's in Virginia. I'm in North Carolina. So, and it's just kind of hard. But if you need me to, if a Lauren needs to talk, I'm there. If I need to talk to a Lauren, she's there. So, and we still have lives. And the thing I have to say this: people make time for what's important to them.
Hmm.
People make
Hmm.
time for what's important. And I feel like communication as well. If you
Yeah.
can't communicate effectively, and maybe because we're journalists, we know how to communicate, so maybe we're just used to it. But I feel like if you can't communicate, like I can't read your mind.
Yeah.
Like I don't know how you're feeling if you don't tell me.
Yeah. And if you are a person who takes everything as confrontation instead of like actually addressing actual,
Yes.
I
Yes.
I found that with me, I can't thrive in friendships like that because not everything is necessarily an issue, but a lot of things sometimes need to be talked about. And I feel like a lot of people, especially in our generation nowadays, they run away from any sort of.
Oh my gosh. Yes. It's just like you don't like to deal with things. I
Yeah,
that's the thing, and that's not healthy to live. And I
yeah,
really can't deal with be a friends or be in a relationship with somebody or friendship with somebody when if they don't want to grow themselves.
They want to stay in the same, that too. They want to stay in the same place.
Bubble. Yep. So that's the thing. Oh, we're gonna get into this. Oh, I can't wait. Well, that does it for our show today. Episode 1 of Did You Hear That?
Yes,
Shimei and A'Lauren. Thank you so much for tuning in. And we'll see you guys next time.
yes. Come back. Come back.
Bye.